Hey everyone, welcome back to the weakest Pokemon series. Last time I asked you all to vote and comment down below what typing you wanted to see covered next, and the majority of you picked water. Hey, that seems familiar. It seems you all shared the same sentiments on my strongest in every Pokemon game series of wanting to get the water typing done first, since it's usually been done last in these Pokemon type series. We definitely have a lot to cover here. There are many water type Pokemon across all 8 generations, and picking the 10 worst will definitely be a challenge. Or maybe it isn't. Before we get started, I would like you all to let me know down in the comments section what you believe the top 3 weakest will be. I look forward to seeing all of your guys' answers and seeing if any of you get it exactly right. With that said, I think we can sit back, relax, and listen to the waves of the ocean, which will be a lot more enjoyable thanks to today's sponsor, Raycon. Oh yes, that's right. Raycon are the perfect way to kick back and indulge in all of your listening needs. I gotta be frank with you guys, I love these things. They are super comfortable and easy to put on. I tend to go out for walks often, and at other times jump around to get all the excess energy out. And look, they stay perfectly in place. The company making Raycons was founded by Ray J, and celebs like Rich the Kid and Snoop Dogg are crazy for these things. So you know you're going to be able to bump their tracks in top quality. Plus, you can get these Raycons in multiple colors, patterns, fits, you name it. And you never have to sacrifice that awesome design or mess around with any wires. Their battery life offers 6 full hours of playtime, and that pairs quite well with their comfortable design that allows me to use them until the very last drop of power. And they even offer great noise isolation too. You know what else they pair well with? Bluetooth enabled devices, of course. It's seamless the way they connect, and the fact you can get such a great product in these earbuds for half the price of other options out there in the electronics industry, well, that just acts as the icing on the cake. Raycon cares a lot about you, me, and everyone who purchases their products. And thus, there's a guarantee that they put extra special care into the customer's experience. Raycon even offers a 45-day free return policy, so just in case you're not satisfied, you can send them back in for free. If you want to be free from wires and enjoy screen-free content wherever you go, then click the link down in the description and head over to buyraycon.com/MysticUmbreon to get 15% off your order. Well, now we get on with the video, and we've got to start with, of course, the best Pokemon we'll be discussing today, Unova's Swanna. The case of Swanna is a bit unfortunate, as I didn't really think of it as being a bottom 10 Pokemon of this typing, considering it feels like people would use it since it offers the ability to use Fly and Surf. However, I was quickly reminded that just because a Pokemon might be useful for an in-game usage, doesn't mean it's got much merit competitively. Swanna has 3 absolutely useless abilities, being Big Pecs, Kenai, and Hydration. The last of that trio is probably the best of the group, though an ability that only activates under a weather condition isn't exactly impressive. Its stats show a good amount of potential, with 98 base speed and 87 in both attacks. It isn't too far-fetched to say that Swanna could be successful, but unfortunately it gets really held back by its ability options, and of course that 4 times weakness to electric. When we look in on the moveset for Swanna, we see an absolute plethora of flying and water type moves that actually start to salvage a little bit. For instance, it has access to Defog, which in the Alolan games were even more important than it is in Generation 8, being able to wipe away all those pesky hazards. Now we've got options like a more powerful Rapid Spin and Heavy Duty Boots, but back then, it was all about that defog. Now offensively, there are some of the best water and flying type moves a Pokemon can learn, including Hurricane, Scald, and Air Slash, with a coverage move like Ice Beam thrown in for good measure. It's actually a bit of a limited move pool outside of Stab, which doesn't do Swanna any favors. However, even then, what moves it does have access to are honestly great. Swanna, by all accounts, has so much potential that it shouldn't be getting talked about in this video right now. But its poor defensive typings along with just poor defenses, and those abilities have it locked in here as the best of the worst. Next up, we're going to keep it locked down in Unova, for another Pokemon I've actually thrown on a best team in the past. Though this thing was definitely on there for convenience sake and not much else. I'm talking about Simipour, of course, which is now joining Simisear as one of the worst of its types. This monkey is just not that great when you want to pull it into competitive, and that's due in part to the lame stat line that it has, with a real emphasis on the defenses. It's got 63 on both ends and poor 75 base HP. That results in some god-awful bulk that nobody would want to turn to. That being said, however, its speed is actually great, being base 101, and its attack stats are both base 98, which again shows us that it has the potential to be a really good Pokemon. So why isn't it? Well, I think the easiest way to answer that is to again point at its defenses. Though that wouldn't be the whole story. Those two abilities it has, Gluttony and Torrent, well, they're pretty awful. You guys know I don't hold Torrent in high regard at all, and the fact that it's the hidden ability is just downright silly. Its move pool at least has a few bangers in it, like Scald and Ice Beam for a special set, and Waterfall and Rock Slide for someone going physical. It should be noted though, that Simipour has access to Nasty Plot, so it definitely feels like a better choice to use special moves on it. However, none of that truly matters, since it isn't going to get the chance to set up, since it can't take a hit. Simipour, being a stupid monkey that nobody likes, is once again just wasted potential sitting up here in this spot. It would have benefited greatly from just some slightly better defenses. Alright, here at number 8, we have two Pokemon sharing this spot, from the same evolutionary line. Huntail and Gorbis are a couple of wacky fish guys that both evolved from Clamperl, and they just sort of both have the same issue. They're both very slow, they both have awful HP, and neither of them gets access to particularly great ability. Now, let me stop you commenters right there. I know Swift Swim isn't a bad ability per se, and it can help deal with that speed issue. It's just that I'm not a huge fan of abilities that count on weather, and I feel like it holds these two back a bit. Hydration is the same deal on Gorbis, while Huntail's access to Water Veil just feels sort of silly. Now, with all that negativity being said, there are some positives here. Huntail's attack stat is at 104, and Gorbis' special attack is 114, and both of them have some really solid physical defense at base 105. They can easily hit hard, and I guess take a hit or two, but when your HP is really bad, and you have no speed, that doesn't tend to matter. Don't worry though, because access to the move Shell Smash is here to help. That's right, both of these Pokemon can get Shell Smash from the pre-evolution. And while it looks like an awesome move to have access to, guess again, Shell Smash lowers the defenses and special defense while upping both attack stats by a stage and the speed. But that doesn't mean all that much when you still need to take a hit beforehand. Should any Pokemon hit one of these things with a special grass or electric type move, that would be all she wrote. Gorbis has the more impressive move pool of the two, but really neither of these Pokemon would have the opportunity to shine at all, even with the usage of Shell Smash. The poor bulk on these bottom dwellers spells doom for their chances in battle, and locks them in here as two of the worst water types. There's another Pokemon that lurks the bottom of Hoenn Seas, and has for millions of years, and it's the next water type we'll be talking about, Relicanth. It's the first Pokemon we're actually talking about that is in Sword and Shield, which is nice. Now, a few of the Pokemon we've spoken about thus far aren't exactly the faces of bulk, but Relicanth certainly is. It has base 130 defense and base 100 HP, which basically enable it to take probably like an earthquake or two before fainting. Now, what about when it tries to hit back? Well, you can rest assured you won't be hitting first thanks to the base 55 speed, and 90 base attack at least means you can do a little bit of damage. As for the special stats, well, you can see them up on screen. Yeah, they're a joke. Its abilities are a bit of a joke too, keeping up with the tradition so far on this list. Sturdy is probably the best of the bunch in a few ways, but I can see people liking Rockhead for those recoil moves. Swift Swim though, I just went on a little bit of a tangent about it in the last century, but it's as useless here on Relicanth as it would be on Gorbis or Huntail. As for moves, well, the only few that Relicanth has access to that actually work with Rockhead are Head Smash, Takedown, and Double Edge. And why would you ever use the latter two? There's some viability in Head Smash, but not those normal type moves. Why am I even acting like you'd get a chance to use a move anyway? Relicanth might have bulk, but the odds of surviving a strong special grass type move or actually stopping a special attacking ground or fighting type with Head Smash are slim to none. This is a garbage Pokemon, and it should have just stayed at the bottom of the sea for another 100 million years. It would have been a lot better that way. Alright, I have a little bit of a soft spot for this Pokemon that closes out the first half of the list, despite how bad it is. Seaking is a Pokemon that I've used before in a playthrough, and I actually grew to like it a bit, despite it not being a great Pokemon by any means. It's a cool Pokemon, it's got a weird horn, and that horn is actually what gives it one of its only redeeming factors, the ability Lightning Rod. It renders electric type moves useless, and it leaves Seaking with grass as its only weakness. It's a shame that Seaking has such bad stats with 92 base attack and the rest being 80 or under. It's great only having one weakness, but who cares when your defenses aren't all that great. Seaking has base 80 special defense and HP, which at least will help shield it slightly from special grass type moves. But in reality, it'll only be that way if you max those stats out, leaving it unable to do anything else with its speed. You might be able to get a waterfall off or something, but you'll only do so once before being taken out. The only setup it has is for its speed with agility, and while being faster would be nice, it's not a risk worth taking with the bad defenses. Seaking just isn't good at all in a competitive sense. However, even then, it still just managed to avoid being top 5. Alright, let's get right into the top 5 with Lumineon, which is a Pokemon I'm sure a ton of you had in mind when you clicked on this video. Or maybe you didn't, considering this thing is really forgettable. Do you even remember what generation it came out in? Alright, that's probably a stupid question. The comment section always knows everything. Well, do you remember how bad its stats are? Look here. It's got base 91 speed and 86 special defense. And that's it. It's a lackluster defensive Pokemon with a nice 69 serving as the base of its HP and attack stats. This is just an awful Pokemon to look at and talk about. Its abilities continue the trend of Pokemon on this list having Swift Swim. And while Storm Drain is viable, it isn't exactly the big turning point that pulls Lumineon out of the gallus of awful Pokemon. The strongest move that it learns by level up is Bounce, which is laughable. It can learn Scald and Ice Beam like most water types can, but again, that 69 base special attack sort of takes it out of the running as a competent attacker. Well, if I can give it any sort of credit, at least it has access to Defog, so it could probably come out into battle for a second and get rid of any hazards before immediately being knocked out. But even then, why bother? Well, if you saw that silly thumbnail and clicked on the video just because of that, then this is the moment you've been waiting for. Dewgong is quite simply not a good Pokemon, like, at all. Its stats definitely aren't the worst we've seen so far, with 95 base special defense and 90 base HP showing the signs of bulk, but its absolutely horrible typing of water and ice just makes it out to be a big joke. Its abilities are definitely influenced by that ice typing, being involved with Thick Fat and Ice Body, neither of which are really of any help for Dewgong. And Hydration is just another example of those water types needing some rain out to actually take any advantage of their ability. These are useless off-fill abilities that this Pokemon has accumulated, and I don't get why Game Freak keeps throwing them out there on Pokemon that need help in a different way. I know, I just keep burying these abilities, and you guys have probably been commenting this whole time, oh but Mystic, rain teams are viable and these abilities are great on them. And yeah, whatever. Well, there are definitely plenty of Pokemon that are good and are enchanted by these abilities, but definitely none of the Pokemon we're talking about today. Dewgong's move pool is abysmal, with the usual suspects like Ice Beam and Surf making appearances. But aside from those two moves, the rest of its pool is just a mishmash of moves like Iron Tail, Signal Beam, and Fake Out. There is nothing that Dewgong can do offensively that a different water-type Pokemon can't do better. But even then, it is a more capable Pokemon in battle than the next three, if you can believe that. I can't believe we're here at this point in the list, and we're about to talk about a mythical Pokemon. How bad can you possibly be that you're considered to be an offshoot of a legendary, but finding yourself being considered one of the absolute worst Pokemon of your typing? We're talking about Fiona here, as it rushes onto the list with its base 80 across the board stats. Now, this is a wonderfully consistent line of stat layout, but that is usually only the case when we're seeing 6 100s, and not half a dozen 80s. Why would they make this thing so weak in comparison to other mythical Pokemon? I don't understand why you can't succeed when essentially every good Pokemon is going to be stronger than you, take hits better than you, and outspeed you. Plenty of the Pokemon that we've spoken about today have had at least one stat that sets them a little bit apart from other Pokemon, whether it was useless or not. Fiona has nothing going for it at all. Its ability is Hydration, which I've spent enough time trashing in this video along with Swift Swim, and its move pool has a distinct lack of coverage. It gets access to everything you expect, and then what? Dazzling Gleam, Grass Knot, and U-Turn? Cool, 3 moves that would be a lot better to have on a Pokemon that wasn't garbage. I'm not even sure what more to say about a Pokemon like this that is so unfortunately bad, despite the fact that it shouldn't be. If I can try to really put things in perspective, Manaphy was on the top 10 strongest water types list, so Fiona has no excuse. Alright, time for the penultimate spot on this list, the second weakest water type Pokemon, Corsola. I'm sure a lot of you came into this video figuring you might even see Corsola at number 1, but lucky for Corsola, it is the slightest bit better than that. I have to give it a little bit of credit before I get into the trashing. Its hidden ability Regenerator is actually a really good one to have. It might be a bit useless on Corsola, but that doesn't change the fact that it is a good ability to have. Now, a glance over the stats reveals base 95 defenses and 65 base HP, so you might as well just forget about having some good bulk, because they couldn't give this thing an HP stat that actually complements its good defenses. The offensive side of things is of course worse, as neither stat lends itself towards production, and that 35 base speed is disgusting. Grass-type Pokemon are going to have a field day picking apart Corsola, worse than any Toxapex could. And despite a move pool filled with decent coverage, Corsola can't do anything to anyone. It's got access to Calm Mind, which it'll never get to take advantage of since its speed is so poor. It can use Earthquake, which is just a silly thing that this little piece of coral probably shouldn't be able to do. It can even use Explosion, but with that awful attack stat, it would probably be lucky to even cause a Pokemon to lose half of its HP. Corsola is so damn bad, it's almost shocking to remind myself that it is only number 2 on this list. But I will say one thing right now, it'll be fun debating with myself over whether it or Magcargo belongs at number 1 on the rock type list, whenever that happens. Alright, let's wrap up this list with the weakest water type Pokemon ever. A veteran of worst teams, and one of the banes of my existence, Luvdisc. Is there any better way to celebrate Valentine's Day weekend by burying a Pokemon shaped like a heart? This one definitely goes out to any of you that are alone this weekend. At the very least, know that you are a million times better than Luvdisc. Its speed stat, being at base 97, is a cruel joke, as there is no reason for this to outspeed anything, as all that does is prolong its suffering by half a turn. Honestly, look at those stats. Have you ever seen something so disgusting on a Pokemon like this? Its defenses are atrocious, it has a base 43 HP stat, and there is no room at all to save this thing offensively. Its abilities are quite literally the most useless lineup I have ever seen on a Pokemon, as Swift Swim is so incredibly unnecessary, and Hydration would never come in clutch because Luvdisc won't survive any hits that I can actually recover from. The visceral hatred I have for Luvdisc is coming to the surface while my blood boils and my hands start to get clammy from the rage I feel. Do you see this? I have to resort to puns to get through this. I can't go any further. There's no point in looking at this thing's set excuse for a move pull. Luvdisc sucks so incredibly bad, and it's definitely going to be there when I go over the worst Pokemon of all time, no doubt. Well, that'll do it for this one. And boy was it rough. The worst of the worst in the water typing are downright anger-inducing. Why would Game Freak even bother to make such garbage Pokemon? Maybe water wouldn't be the biggest typing if they didn't keep polluting the sea with such trash. Anyway, I want to thank Raycon again for sponsoring this video. They were without a doubt the best part of it. Let me know down in the comments below the next typing you want to see covered, and leave a like if you enjoyed. So with that said, thank you to everyone for watching the video. Huge thanks to my phenomenal team and the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If you all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too, as it really helps us out. I also do other content on my Twitch, where I stream Genshin Impact, Mystic Zora, where I do Pokemon Let's Plays and other gaming content, and of course MysticSage, where I do all anime content. Right now, I'm focusing on Inuyasha and Yashahime, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. If you'd like to support me even further than that, check out my Patreon. Whether it's a $1 tip to get early thumbnail access, or the $10 tier to get cool perler bead charms and a shoutout. There's tons of reasons to join today. These lovely people did, and I thank them all so much for their support. It really means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Umbreon, and I will see you all next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.